The cafe was quiet, hidden on a narrow street where the city's noise faded into a soft murmur. A clock ticked past 4 as gentle jazz played in the background, mixing with the scent of coffee and rain-soaked pavement. Elliot Walker sat at his usual table by the window, black coffee untouched, posture straight but weary. He came every Saturday, same seat, same drink, same silence, watching the rain, thinking or trying not to. The door chimed. A little girl stepped inside, no older than 4, her oversized coat swallowing her hands. She walked past the counter and stopped right in front of Elliot, holding a worn stuffed bear with one ear hanging by a thread. Looking up at him with steady eyes, she spoke seriously. "Sir, can you fix my toy? It was our last gift from Dad. Mom says we shouldn't throw away things that have love in them." Something tightened in Elliot's chest. Not because of the bear, but because of the quiet respect in her voice, sorrow far too deep for someone so small. "Mia," a soft voice called. A woman approached, calm and graceful, her tired eyes warm with apology. "I'm sorry," she said gently. She must have wandered off. "She asked me to fix her bear," Elliot replied quietly. The woman smiled faintly. "She won't sleep without it. It was from her father." Elliot held out his hand. "May I?" With careful trust, Mia placed the bear into his palms. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. "I'll bring it back next week," he said. That night, alone in his apartment, Elliot stitched the torn ear with clumsy care. With every loop of thread, old memories surfaced. His father's discipline, the silence at home, the love never spoken. When he finished, the stitching wasn't perfect, but it held. And somehow so did he. The following Saturday, Elliot returned to the cafe with the repaired bear. Mia ran to him, gasping softly as she hugged it to her chest. "You fixed him," she breathed, then wrapped her arms around Elliot without hesitation. From that day on, Saturdays changed. Hannah and Mia joined him. Conversations grew longer, warmer. Elliot learned Hannah worked tirelessly to provide, never complaining. She learned Elliot carried success without peace. One afternoon, Hannah said softly, "Things get better when people choose to do the right thing, even when it's hard." Those words stayed with him. Slowly, Elliot chose differently. He stood up to his father. He protected Hannah when pressure turned into threats. He let go of expectations that had never been his. "I don't want a world without you in it," he told her one quiet morning. "I want to build one with you." And she stayed. Elliot walked away from his title, his legacy, even his last name, choosing something smaller but real. Dinners became simple. Laughter filled small rooms. Home was no longer silent. On a spring afternoon, beneath soft lights and open sky, they married. It was modest, joyful enough. At the back of the gathering, Elliot saw his father, older, quieter, who left behind a small wooden box. Inside was a model airplane, just like the one Elliot had lost as a child, and a note written in careful ink. "I didn't know how to love you right, but I always did." Later, as Mia climbed onto his lap and took his hand, she looked up and said, "Now you have 2 girls who love you." Elliot smiled through quiet tears. He finally understood happiness didn't need to be loud. It just needed to be real. Because they were true, and maybe, just maybe, he was starting to believe them too. That Sunday morning, spring filled the air with softness. The sky was clear, the breeze gentle, and the park alive with children's laughter and rustling leaves. Elliot arrived early, as always, but this time he wasn't alone. Mia skipped ahead, a paper bag of colored pencils swinging in her hand, her laughter ringing like music. Hannah walked beside him, her sundress catching the breeze, her presence calm and grounding. Mia ran straight to the old carousel. Elliot bought her a ticket and watched as she climbed onto a faded blue wooden horse. As it spun, her giggles floated across the grass. Hannah sat nearby, smiling quietly, a worn book resting in her hands. Elliot joined her, and they sat in comfortable silence, watching joy move in circles. When the ride ended, Mia flopped onto the grass, hugging her bear. "Best day ever," she declared. They spent the afternoon wandering, melting ice cream, shared laughter, and quiet moments under a tree where Mia drew while humming softly. Elliot lay back in the grass, feeling lighter than he had in years. When Mia held up her drawing, Elliot's breath caught. 3 stick figures held hands. Above them, uneven letters read, "Mom, me, and him." Below, almost hidden, the word "maybe." Later, walking by the pond, Elliot spoke quietly about his father, about rules, expectations, and a childhood where love was never spoken. Hannah listened without interruption. "He's still here," she said gently. "Some people don't get the chance to fix things." Her words settled deep. Healing, Elliot realized, might still be possible. Days later, a knock came at his apartment door. His father stood there, formal and distant. Their conversation was brief and cold, ending with his father's warning about Hannah and Mia. Elliot stopped him firmly and let him leave without another word. 3 days later, Hannah was approached by men offering money to disappear from Elliot's life. She refused without hesitation. When they returned and grabbed her arm days later, Elliot appeared through the rain, furious and unwavering, forcing them to leave. The next morning, Elliot confronted his father at the estate gates. For the first time, he spoke the truth, rejecting the name, the money, and the approval he had chased all his life. When he walked away, the rain felt cleansing. That night, Hannah lay awake, torn between fear and hope. She wondered if loving Elliot meant costing him everything. But when he came to her door the next morning and said, "That world means nothing if I'm alone," she knew her answer. She took his hand. She stayed, breathing softly, hugging the stitched-up bear that had become part of their lives in more ways than one. A tiny hand peeked out from the blanket resting near Hannah's side. Hannah brushed a strand of hair from Mia's forehead. "Sweetheart," she whispered, her voice breaking. "What should I do?" Tears came before Hannah could stop them. She had fought for everything. Every bill paid, every meal on the table, every small moment of joy in a life that rarely allowed ease. And just when she had stopped expecting kindness, it had arrived quietly in the form of a man who didn't try to fix her, only saw her. Elliot had chosen her. He had chosen Mia, even when it meant standing against his own blood. But was it fair? He came from a world she could never enter. Wealth, power, a name that opened doors. She had late shifts, secondhand coats, and dreams that always felt conditional. Burying her face in the pillow, she stifled a sob. She wanted this, not for comfort or money, but for the way Elliot looked at Mia like she mattered, for how he listened, for the gentler man he became with them. She glanced at Mia sleeping peacefully beside her. "I just want you to be happy," she whispered. "I don't want you growing up watching me ruin the best thing we've ever had." She didn't sleep that night. Morning came gray and still. As Hannah made tea with trembling hands, a knock sounded at the door. Elliot stood there, damp from the mist, tired but steady. "I get it," he said softly. "You've been quiet. I don't want to be the reason you lose your life, your father, your name," she said. "That world means nothing if I'm alone," he replied. "I'm not asking you to fit into my life. I want to build one with you." "I'm scared," she admitted. "So am I," he said gently. "But this is the only decision I've ever been sure of." She took his hand. "I won't leave," she said. And for the first time in days, the weight in her chest began to lift. Days later, Elliot stood in a silent boardroom and made his choice. He stepped down without hesitation, walked away without looking back, and sent one message as he left the building. "I'm coming home." That evening, the apartment smelled of simple food and warmth. Mia ran into his arms. Dinner was humble, laughter easy. Elliot looked around the small, imperfect space and realized he had never felt richer. "I left it all," he told Hannah later. The title, the inheritance, even the name. From now on, he was just Elliot, and he was sure. They married under soft lights and open sky, surrounded by quiet joy instead of grandeur. As vows were whispered, Mia wrapped her arms around them both, sealing what already felt whole. At the back of the gathering, Elliot noticed his father watching. Before leaving, the older man placed a small wooden box on the gift table. Inside was a model airplane, just like the one Elliot had lost as a child, and a note written in familiar, careful script. "I didn't know how to love you right, but I always did." Later, as Mia climbed onto his lap and held his hand, she smiled up at him. "Now you have two girls who love you, right?" That was when the tears came, quiet, steady, healing. And in that moment, Elliot understood something at last. Happiness didn't need to be loud. It only needed to be real.